after this chapter, I'm actually really hoping that they fix this girl. I'm trying to remember still her name. I think it's Komaki. I think it's how it's pronounced, but I'm starting to really like her, and like granted she's not dead and they could still potentially fix her, but like after the end of this chapter, she's not looking in the best shape. Essentially, she's looking to be in could be looking better, but in this chapter, like the characters for the most part are kind of just going into the school. They're just getting as much as they can, trying to figure out like what's exactly going on, what's the problem, and who the bad guy is in this, because they have their suspicions, but they don't like factually have like they don't have the solution or like all the facts. Like they haven't fixed this is like still in the early like detective work kind of phase. They're just trying to like, get the first like steps in, and it immediately goes bad, and like it very immediately gets negative. Like when the chapter starts, like it's like, okay, well, we're going to this school, things are looking a little bit positive, they're having some nice communications between Iori and this girl, and they're like talking about the teacher, was it Kanzaki, like Mr. Kanzaki, and this girl Komaki, she seems to like Iori. She knows that he's like a bit of an irritating guy, like from what's been displayed. Like I can imagine dealing with him can be very irritating, but at the core of things, Iori is a good person. It's just wrapped up in this kind of lazy guy who essentially doesn't want to go out and like help everybody he can, but like if somebody is in front of him, he can help. He's not going to ignore them. Essentially, he's going to do what he can if the presentation is there. But during all this, like they're kind of just talking, seeing everything kind of just laying out, getting everything just established, and like there's a moment from Rika where she says that it's not like her ability, but she just has this bad feeling that there's a phantom on the floor. So I'm curious to know if that's gonna be an act, like if that moment was just a moment, like it's like she just had a bad feeling, or if this is like what Riku's thing is gonna, like maybe she is like a more advanced version of a beckoning hand, that she can sense them to a higher degree of other people. Just because that scene, it can't easily be played off as just being her getting like chills, or like I said, her just in general having a bad feeling and then it just resulted in that. But for the most part, I can kind of look at it and be like, it could be foreshadowed, just because Riku is this beckoning hand thing and she's a main cast member, so I could easily see hers being better than like the average person, and Senju Doji being interested in her, it would make sense of like why hers would be like above other people. But then you have Komaki just like go through this weird eyeball phantom that shows up, just kind of rip through it with her little serrated bladed Weasley cattail. I don't know what exactly she's supposed to be. I'm thinking weasel now, like weasel or raccoon or something. But she seemed very happy that she was useful. She like seems pretty just like trying to get some validation, some compliments. I like her so far. She seems very high spirited, just seems like a happy person. So I'm really hoping they fix her at the end of this. Like, I don't want her character to get killed off. I don't think they would kill her off. It'd be really dark to do this early with like a character that seemed to have like a pretty nice opening. But then like this big hand comes out. I assume it's a Senju Doji. Well, I assume it's Senju Doji, but I don't know if this Kanzaki guy is like Senju Doji in a new body, or like, oh, I work with Senju Doji and like I get like part of Senju Doji's power or something like that. Because we don't know enough about Senju Doji at the moment to really kind of get an understanding of like the extent of where Senju Doji could be. Like does Senju Doji have minions, like their own crew? We're still like at a very fresh start within Phantom Seer, that it's kind of hard to gauge the extent of like some of these villains. Like we don't even know like how many people are on Senju Doji's level. We don't even know the extent of that Senju Doji's reach has. Is Senju Doji like one of the most powerful phantoms out there, or like mischievous, or is Senju Doji just a very tricky one to deal with? Who knows? But we see this guy Kanzaki holding Komaki and just like puts like the spooky hand through her and continuously mixes up a phantom like with her body. And I don't like I get what's going on, and I know the series itself has like been very aggressive and has some pretty monstrous looking some pretty monstrous looking creatures and scenes. But I don't like seeing Komaki like this. She's like this aggressively ugly looking like Weasley Phantom, and I'll be pretty bummed out if they don't fix her, just because, like, again, I like her character, and I really don't want to see her in this kind of grotesque state. If they can save her, I'd be pretty happy, but if they don't, I can understand, just given that the character Senju Doji is like, seems to be a very like fine with murdering people kind of character, and the series is in that a dark position where Komaki, who though is new and like I said, likable, she's not relevant enough that she could easily die in this scene or in this kind of like situation. So I mean, we'll see. We're at a point where I think it could happen with Phantom Seer to kind of build up some shock value, some popularity. So I don't know. It's such an odd position to currently be at with the series, because anything could happen at at a series where it's so young. Essentially, that's the biggest thing about Phantom Seer that we really have to get a grasp on for the totality of the manga, is we don't know the direction it could go when this is all said and done. So we'll see in the next chapter. I think it actually read really fast, and I think it was still fine. Like, it wasn't as like hype as like I think the Undead Unluck chapter was, while still being fast. Like, this was still a good chapter, but this was more of like a shock value setup, because I didn't see this end part of the chapter coming, of making Komaki just this really gross monster phantom, but it's an interesting direction to take things. So we'll see. Other than that, I'll comment below. Thumbs up the video, but from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everybody's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.